Welcome back to another video where today we're going to be doing an unboxing and review on the Kingbolen S608. So Kingbolen has recently sent me one of their new scan tools for 2025, the S608. And this is a great time for me to receive this tool from them because the check engine light is on one of my vehicles. So because this is brand new, we're just going to go through the setup. I'm going to show you how to actually set one of these devices up. I'm going to go over some of the special features on this, and then we're going to jump outside and we're going to scan my car and see what is going on with it. The S608 is one of Kingbolen's mid-level scan tools. So you're just going to get the device and owner's manual. There's no carrying case with this device or anything along those lines. So inside we have the actual device. We've got a USB-C charger and the DLC connector. On the top of the device, you've got the connector for the DLC, the power, and then on the side here, we have the charging and also a slot for a small micro memory card. So let's turn this device on and we're going to get it set up. So the screen on this device is very bright and clear, which is really nice to see. So this is one of the larger screens you'll see for comparable models. This has a 6.2-inch touchscreen, which is nice. So what we're going to do is hook this device up to Wi-Fi here. So we're going to go in and see where that connection is here. So now that we've actually hooked this device up to the Wi-Fi, we're going to do updates here. So we're going to see if there's any available updates for the device. So it looks like there is quite a few options here we can do. So let's update all of these just to get this device up to date for the first use. So while a bunch of this updates here, one of the cool features with the Kingbolen over other manufacturers like Launch or even TopDon is this device has free lifetime updates, where a lot of the other scan tool manufacturers will give you 1 to 2 years of updates, and then after that point you have to start paying a subscription fee to update those devices. So as these do their final updates here, we're also going to check the app version and make sure that's up to date. So when you go into this screen here, you can actually click here and it'll search to determine if you have the most up-to-date firmware on the device, which we do, which is nice. So let's go back to the home screen here. Because this device is new to me, I'm not too familiar with it, so we're going to check out some of the options it has here. So let's take a look at some of these cool features here. So let's start off with the repair tab. So you've got 5 options in there: Google Chrome, fault code library, coverage list, learning, and a user's manual. So let's go into Chrome. You've got the option. You can actually go directly to YouTube. Say you need help finding something or fixing something, you can search this right up here on YouTube. So let's look up a heater core for RAM 1500. And let's say you need to know how to flush your heater core, you can go directly to this video. So that's a pretty cool feature, as well as the fault code library. So that is super convenient. If you're not sure or you don't have manufacturer service data, you can search up that fault code that you have and it'll give you a description. So we'll try to use this feature later and we'll see if it gives us any help with our issue. So let's go back in, let's look at the maintenance options. So this device comes with 9 pre-built-in maintenance settings here. So you have ABS bleeding, battery matching, brake pad reset, DPF. So if you've got a diesel, that's a great option to have here. The throttle body adapter, gear relearning, injector coating, oil life reset, and steering angle. So these are nice. These are pretty common features you may need with a newer vehicle. The DPF is definitely one of the most beneficials if you do have a diesel. The file tab down here, pretty basic. It'll give you the option to save your reports as the report or a PDF, and you can also email those over afterwards. So the last two things I kind of wanted to touch on before we jump outside and hook this up to our vehicle is this is a bi-directional scanner, which is awesome when it comes to needing to do testing. So you can jump into those specific systems and turn on features or shut off features to see if they're functioning correctly, as well as this is a 4 system scanner. So this system allows you to check the engine, the transmission, ABS, and your SRS. So the most common when that check engine light's on, of course, is going to be the engine module that you need to check. So this scanner gives you full function and bidirectional controls for that. So let's jump outside. We're going to hook this up to the car and we're going to see what's going on with it. So now that we have the scanner connected to the vehicle, what we're going to do is go to the diagnostic tab. This does have the auto VIN search, which is awesome. So we don't have to do much here. It's going to figure out what make and model this vehicle is. So we found the vehicle make and model here, and it's just going to verify a couple options here for it. So now we can just hit the automated search again, and we're just going to push through that. It's going to verify the VIN and what the vehicle is here. And now it's going to run the health report for us. And we see we have one engine fault code. So a cool feature actually is this is supposed to be just a 4 system scanner, but it actually picked up the additional system here for our rear differential. So that's pretty cool. So let's go in and we're going to see what this code is. So you can actually tap directly on the code here. So since we tapped on the code, what it's going to do is it's going to actually search up the manufacturer and what that specific code is right on Google. So it's going to give the option, you can look through videos, you can look through information here on Google. So if you don't have manufacturer service info, this will be a great tool for DIYs. So let's go into the actual ECM module now, and we're going to pull up a little bit of info here. So we're going to look at some of the live data. We're going to see if we're able to see anything around the emission system here. So it's giving us a ton of options here of items that we can pick out here. So let's take a look at that information for now. We're going to start the vehicle up. And our vehicle is already up to operating temperature because we just took it out for a road test. And we've got nothing here on the evap purge solenoid. So let's take a look. We're going to see if we can actually use some bidirectional functions and see if we can turn this on. So what we're going to go down to in the ECM is the actuation test. And we're going to go down to the emissions tab. We can see the purge solenoid vent. So let's open this up. And we'll see if we have any function control here when we increase or decrease this. If we have no control, increasing or decreasing, that's going to point to possibly some form of a wiring issue or possibly an issue with the actual solenoid. So then we'll do some more testing in the future for that. So let's try to increase this here. So we have no function here. So we're increasing, but we're not seeing any changes, and we're actually showing the malfunction down here on the bottom, and the ML is on. So let's jump back out of this for now. We're going to turn the vehicle back off and leave it in the run position. So after looking at some of that data, we know we clearly have some form of an issue where we're not controlling the solenoid. When we're increasing the function on it, it's doing nothing to the actual vehicle here, where what that actually should be doing is pulling a vacuum on the engine there. So that's a pretty easy way for us to test the evap system here with this, because it has the bi-directional function, which is awesome. So when we increased the vacuum there on the solenoid, we should have saw a draw on the vehicle, and you should see the vehicle start to run rough when you're sitting at idle. But we increased the draw there and we had no response against the vehicle. So that's kind of pointing to possibly some form of a wiring issue or an issue with the component. So that's going to warrant further testing in the future. But let's take a look at some of these other systems here that we have access to. So we'll see some of the functions and features that are available. So we have a couple bidirectional functions here in the TCM. And for the live data, we've got some information. So let's go into transmission data. And we have a pretty big list here of options we can look at, which is nice. Same thing, you got the torque converter as well as shift data and solenoid valve data. So let's go out. The rear differential. So that's cool because this one actually wasn't advertised on this, but the Kingbolen actually picked up that module for me. So let's take a look and see. So we've got options in here too. Data 1, data 2. Pretty cool. We'll go to the brake module. So again, you have a bunch of bidirectional functions for the brake module. And a bunch of functions here too to view live data. So let's check out the last available module for us, which is the airbag module. So you've got the option to turn the lights on and off. And you've got a smaller list for the airbag, but you still have a decent amount of information you're able to see here. So overall, for a mid-level scan tool, this has got a ton of features that will be very beneficial for DIY, or even if you're more on the professional level. It doesn't hurt to have a scan tool like this laying around. So now that we've finished inside the vehicle and we've verified what that engine code is, we're going to try out the function of the code library. So again, you have the option here of checking out the 4 different versions of codes, but we know ours is a P0443. So we're going to search that up, and it's going to give us the code description here. So again, if you don't have the manufacturer service data, this is a great tool, especially for DIY, because it's going to give you a brief description of what that code is, as well as it's linked directly to Chrome. So again, you can hit that search bar. It's going to bring you right to Google Chrome, going to give you a bunch of additional info. And you can even go into a video tab here and see if anyone has a YouTube video on how to diagnose and repair that issue. I'm also going to link some of the manufacturer's info in my description, so you can go directly to their website and look up some additional info on this scan tool. So if you have any other questions for me, leave me a comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.